This is a big one. This is the one I think everyone's going to want to listen to. It's basically, what should your tech stack look like when you're launching an e-commerce business? Like, what tech is underrated? What's overrated? What are things that people haven't heard of?
You know, when you launch a new brand, you need a really good product. There's no room for second place products. You need really strong messaging that helps you carve an angle for yourself. And then you need to focus on something that's high AOV and less frequent, or low AOV and high frequency. Every dollar you basically lose in shipping cost, it's a hit to your pocket or a hit to the ability to acquire customers.
For sure. Smart operators know that actively managing cash flow is a real unlock to increase profits. HighBeam is a banking platform built to help brands do just this.
Learn how HighBeam automatically saves brands thousands of dollars through its high-yield accounts, lines of credit, and cashback cards with a personalized savings estimate at highbeam.co/limited supply.
Okay, guys, we're back for episode 11 of Limited Supply. This is a big one. This is the one I think everyone's going to want to listen to, especially because a lot of our listeners skew towards a younger brand. Mm-hmm. And now we're going to be talking about basically, what should your tech stack look like when you're launching an e-commerce business? Like, what tech is underrated? What's overrated? What are things that people haven't heard of? And, you know, you've launched probably more Shopify businesses than anybody else I know. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited. I'm going to take notes myself because this is an episode I've been waiting for a long time.
Awesome. I'm gonna talk about a few things, and then we're gonna have you jump in.
Okay.
So, you know, when you launch a new brand, I think you basically need a few key pieces. You need a really good product. There's no room for second place products. You need really strong messaging that helps you carve an angle for yourself. So either a promise you'll deliver or a problem you'll solve for. You need really good content. That's photography, copywriting, ad copy, ad creative. And then you need to basically either you want to focus on something that's high AOV and less frequent, or low AOV and high frequency. The anomaly there would be, you know, like some high-end thing that you buy on recurring on a subscription, sure, or like a Jolie, a high AOV with a subscription. All right. So I think there's basically 5 kind of core pillars to launching a brand. You have marketing, operations, customer experience, wholesale, and finance. Your marketing includes paid ads, organic social, email and SMS, PR, partnerships, influencers, Shopify, and social proof, or your earned media. Your operations includes your product manufacturing, your packaging manufacturing, your transportation, and your warehouse. Your customer experience includes customer service, customer reviews and surveys, and subscription. Your wholesale business can include a number of things, but I just put fair here as like a starting point.
Yep, got it.
And then your finance piece includes your banking partner and lines of credit, credit cards, the stuff we talked about last week. Okay, so these are what I think are basically the core pillars. So I'm going to go through each one and just put a few notes that I think are almost like ground zero. The way I tried to make this was I didn't want to put everything in here because I think it gets overwhelming.
Sure.
I think generally when we get to like once you launch what you focus on, there's a very simple goal of getting to 5K a day.
Yeah.
And so I think
I like that goal that you keep setting, because you're like, once you get there, you've sort of got product market fit.
Yeah.
And it's like achievable. You're not like, oh my God, this seems impossible. 5,
yeah, it's not like I'm about to go make 100,000 a month and then $1 million. Like, no, let's start realistically. Yeah. Just get to 5K. So, all right. So again, I'm going to read some bullet points and then jump in after this.
Are you starting with marketing? Ops?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Marketing.
Okay. So first thing, you just need to build a simple site that converts above 2% with paid traffic. So 2% blended. Obviously, if this is just, influencer traffic or traffic from organic social, should be much higher, probably 7 to 10%. But with paid and a bunch of just new people hitting the site, should be at least 2%. On the site, you want to focus on educating new customers. So your entire site should be pitching somebody who has never heard about you and could not care less about you. Think about think about you're an immigrant kid. Yeah. You're pitching this to your grandparents who fled their country and moved somewhere else for a better life for you. And you're now selling, cream.
Yeah.
All right. So you gotta focus on education.
Yeah.
Really help people understand what you're doing. That comes with landing pages. That comes with storytelling. I think generally for new customers, you always want to focus on bundles, things that are high AOV. And you also want to have a bunch of like first person video content. I found that to be the best. There's a brand. Have you heard of this brand called Crown Affair?
Yeah.
I think their best ad is their founder, Diana, just like doing her hair in front of the camera. And I mean, that's the one that I see the most. So I imagine that's their best one. All right. After that, you need to have a good presence on social, organic social. It doesn't need to be great and it doesn't need to be out of this world social content. Obviously that helps, but you need to have at least a good presence on organic social. So you need your social channels updated. They should have good content, things that are relevant to the brand, stories, highlights, etc.
So if I'm launching, what does that mean? Do I need to get 12 Instagram photos up there before I really launch?
For sure.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, because the thing that I always think about is when somebody sees the ad, right, and they click the profile, they move over. You want to have stories on the account. You want to have highlights. Ideally, one of the first highlights is customer reviews or something that is just a collection of reposts, story reposts from other people talking about your product. FAQs is a good one. Yeah. Ingredients, things like that. All the things that are like top of mind questions. Sure. You need to have your email flows built out. So I listed out some of just the basic ones to have at launch. First one's post-purchase flow, including your receipt. So you have a nice receipt that goes out and then, 5 or 6 emails that sort of talk about the brand, the products, etc. A welcome flow for your site visitors, which is probably very similar to the post-purchase flow, but more focused on acquisition and getting people to buy.
Yeah. I think that there I'd say it's pretty different because like the second one is like, okay, you've got it. Here's when you're going to get it. Here's how to use it. Yeah. Here are things that you should really love about it. So like, oh, you've been using it for a while. What do you think of it? While a new non-customer flow is going to be like, here's the best. Here's why everyone's buying it. Here's customer review. Like, you don't need to send a review to a guy who just bought it. He bought it. He's going to like have his own review.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I was more thinking of like brand story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
But fully agreed. Yes. The welcome flow should actually be more acquisition focused.
Yes. Yeah.
You want an abandoned site flow, abandoned checkout flow, back in stock email template. So you have something that's ready to go whenever you're ready to use it. You sell out of a product, you come back in stock. Review request email. You can use the standard like Okendo email, but it's better to just stylize it and personalize it. It could even just be like for long weekend. I think I just went in and updated the copy. So it just sounds a little bit more on brand. You throw the logo in there, etc. A subscription reminder, because legally you have to have a reminder that somebody's about to purchase. Yeah, I think you do. Oh, but some of the things that you've mentioned before is, you don't say like, hey, your subscription's about to go, click this giant fucking button to cancel it or to hold your subscription. You just need to simply, remove all that. Just tell people it's coming and get them excited as to like why they purchased in the first place. Yeah. You need a product or category upsell email, and then a win back flow. So people who've either churned from subscription or maybe, they haven't purchased in. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So those are the emails I think you need. I think in addition to that, you should seed product to creators for content. There was a founder named Leah Yu who started Crave Beauty, and she's a huge YouTuber herself. And one thing she said that I thought was really smart was, if you're selling like poop spray, poopery, don't go for people who just have like nice homes or big followings. Go for people who are content creators, but have like a problem that your product solves.
Like they have IBS or something?
Yeah, exactly. So like go to TikTok and go find people talking about IBS who are also influencers and get them the product and let them talk about it in their own way, which I thought was smart. TikTok obviously like indexes every word of every video at this point. So it's very easy to find those people. You can also just find creators who just specialize in creating content for brands. Like these people are basically hired quote unquote influencers. Like they take influencer like content, but really what they're just better at is just taking content that resonates in the social feed and like feels organic. Like if you go to the Long Weekend site, a lot of that photography is taken by these hired guns who they take photos that just look great. And obviously you have to source it down. Like we went and found a photographer who loves the beach and the ocean. We found like a content creator who loves to travel. And so you need to still align that stuff. But there are a lot of people who are just like, you know what? Forget all this fake shit. I pay me money and I'll make you the best influencer looking content. And sometimes those are worth it.
Sure. Wow.
Last two things. One is you want to find bloggers and editors, draft a pitch, email it to them, and don't forget to follow up. And, you can't just email them and say, hey, I'm launching this product and you should write about it. You got to basically create the outline for their whole story, put it in an email and send it. You have to make their job as easy as possible. And what does that do? That gives you social proof. So if you send 300 emails and, 20 people respond and say they're down for this, and 10 people end up writing or 5 people end up writing, those 5 articles, they're probably not going to drive a ton of purchases when the articles go up, but the way you can weaponize that, either with other partnership opportunities, retail selling opportunities, on your website, on your landing pages, in your ads, will make you, a lot more.
Yeah,
back.
you're saying, And do you think, I think the other thing you should send to those reporters, aside from that outline, is just a bunch of photos so that they don't have to contact you. So they're like, okay, got it.
Exactly. Last thing here is, I think the Shopify site. So you don't need to build an insanely fancy and super custom site. In fact, in most cases, working with a big agency to build a custom site, if you're not well capitalized, is a huge mistake because you have tons of things that come up down the road that you just can't fix easily.
Yeah.
If you're on a fully custom theme.
Yeah. Now,
if you work with an agency to do that, you want to make sure that the theme is very editable and templatized and easy to edit and make changes.
Yeah.
But, there's a ton of cases of people who come to Sharma Brands and they're like, well, we can't even add like an additional buy button on our product page because it's impossible to put in, or we can't easily change the text on our homepage and swap the banner because the way it was coded, it's like it's connected to something else and blah, blah, blah. The same thing happens with a lot of headless sites. I think a lot of the companies we see come to us who are headless are like, this is the biggest mistake we've ever made.
Really?
And they want to go right back to non-headless. But then a couple underrated apps, I think. So one is called Amped for email pop-ups. Have you ever heard of Amped?
No.
I think it's amp.io. I'm not involved in any way. I just met the guy actually recently. And he used to run an agency where all they did was email pop-ups for companies like Uggs and just like massive companies. And, the difference of a good email pop-up for a company that's doing, $500 million in revenue is a ton of money. He ended up taking all his best learnings and best practices and turned it into a software called Amped. And, I loved it as soon as I saw it because it's basically like they help you make the best email pop-ups. And
is it full service or is it like self-serve? Like you build the pop-up?
It's quote unquote self-serve. But like if you were to message them and say, help me with my pop-up, like they have a whole design team. Like they did that for us.
And you think it's better than like Klaviyo pop-ups?
For sure. I've spent a decent amount of time in Klaviyo pop-ups.
Yeah.
They're not easy to build and they don't work as easily. And the UI of the actual pop-up builder is not that great.
Yeah.
I started playing around with this. I messaged them through the support thing, like, can you help me build one out? They built me 4 variations, and now I can just use those as templates. And the greatest thing is the entire editor is basically like Figma. So it's like the same way you design in Figma or Webflow, it's the exact same editor here. And it goes live in one click, so which is awesome.
Yeah, that is nice.
But nobody talks about this company.
Another one, new or they're not new?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I think they have a decent amount of customers, so I don't think they're new, but maybe just not that well marketed.
Gotcha.
Another one that I recently discovered from Ryan, the Jolie founder, is Nostra, which does site speed. So they basically cache your site, and it loads instantaneously. I think the Jolie guy said his conversion rate jumped up like 20% as a result of just installing this. Which is great. Another one is for user identification. So with all the user identification challenges, Black Crow has a smart ID product, which just passes data back to Shopify and Klaviyo. Facebook and Klaviyo.
So where do you need to be to use Black Crow? Like, is it starting out?
I think you can use it when you start out. Okay. It's all usage-based pricing. Elevar is another company that does this same thing. In fact, they might actually do it across more channels, but I think it makes sense to use it from the get-go. Like if you're spending money on ads, you might as well have the right data coming back into the platforms.
Yeah.
And then the last one I put here is a distant cousin, a stepbrother maybe, to one of your favorite companies, Narvar.
Yeah.
Which is Malomo. And Malomo is essentially post-purchase order tracking. It's a nice branded page. It's
great.
super cheap and affordable, and 10 times easier to use and set up than Narvar.
I'm not sure why Narvar is so expensive.
I have no idea. It's like you could probably build their product in a weekend.
Yeah. I have no idea where the amount of money they charge for comes from.
Vista
But
Equity
Malomo is
Partners,
also
probably.
Malomo's, $189 per month plus 4 cents for each additional shipment.
It's all negotiable.
This boils my blood when I see things like this.
Yeah, for a lot of our like bigger clients, we use Malomo. Honestly, if you're a small brand, I don't even know that you need order tracking. Like
if you're using ShipStation, it's included in there. They've now fucked up their prices, but it was included in there.
Yeah, I also just think like there's never been a time where I've placed an order and thought, how come these guys don't have a post-purchase order tracking page?
Yeah,
it's like okay, I'll just find the shipping number.
Yeah,
and Google it. Yeah. And then there's also the Shop app, which does like order tracking now. So
and you get like a text message.
Yeah, exactly. You get a fucking text and email the Shop app. You can Google it.
And to be honest, despite all of that, I can tell you from firsthand experience, the number one question virtually every e-commerce store is, "Where's my package?"
Yeah. That's true.
So fucking lazy.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I have for marketing. What would you add to that list as far as like focusing when you're launching?
Yeah, believe it or not, I would take out a lot from that list.
Okay,
I wouldn't add anything. In fact, like even I wouldn't do even a win. Like let's say I was launching, I wouldn't even have a win back flow. I wouldn't have a churn flow. I would only have a new customer acquisition flow.
Okay,
I would have a sign up form from Klaviyo or PostScript. I wouldn't have one from the brand you mentioned, Amped, because. Virtually every time someone adds a question to like a sign up flow, I'm like, I don't think this is a good idea. Like, they're like, what's your first name, your date of birth, and your email address? And I'm like, are you crazy?
Yeah, that I agree
for next. What my social security card number is? Huh? Yeah. Fuck you. I get so upset when I see that about brands. I'm just like, you have no hope. You've asked for too many questions here, and you don't even A/B test the thing that is the most simple thing in the world right in front of me, which is all these the 3 things that you're making me fill out to get us 10% off. I would take away Nostra. I would take away Elevar. I would take away order tracking. If you want to launch there, you should get a sign up form, a Facebook ad. I don't even think you need an Instagram account, believe it or not. I think you should have that at some point. But if you're doing if you're like, hey, I'm launching a brand. Okay, fine. Create that Instagram account. Get things. In fact, I wrote down things because I was like, and then I stopped writing them down because I was like, wait, I'm not even sure about all this. You wrote, you wrote really good photographs. Get a 3D renderer.
Yeah, 100%. That will save you.
Yeah, every single stick we bought at Native, the first time we launched, I sent all my products to a photographer, and he charged me like $30 for a photo, and he took 10 photos, and I paid $300 out of my own pocket. I had no money. I was like, these are the worst. Like, I can't use any of these photos. And I found this 3D renderer, and he's like, hey, it's $20 for basically anything I can make you sitting in the Oval Office at the White House if you'd like. Yeah. It'll be $20 for that photo. And you don't even need to show me what the Oval Office of the White House is. I'll render it.
Yeah.
And then the president will change it to be look like that. It's so good. And so I was like, this is so much cheaper than photographs.
Yeah. Fully agreed.
I think that even really good product, I don't think you need. I think you just need to try and sell and see if you Native, we didn't have a really great product when we launched.
Yeah.
We made it a really great product. And so I think what you need is you need to see if there's demand. Like, let's say I think you're, and I don't mean to disagree with you in all these ways. Yeah. I honestly think that you're talking about, look, you're at $100,000 in revenue, somewhere around there. This is how you need to start optimizing your site, $100,000 a month. If you have $0 in revenue, okay, create the 6-pack or 9-pack or whatever it is on Instagram. See if you can get one YouTube video. That'd be great. You've got a website, have some of your friends buy and leave reviews. And, you're supposed to put a disclosure on that, leave reviews like, friend bought or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay, put that. And then like, just start trying to run ads or like see what's going to work. Like, is this product needed by the world? Like, if you're on Amazon, can you pay for customer acquisition here? Like, how is this going to work?
Right.
So I agree with a lot of what you said, except just in a little bit later in the stage.
That's fair.
Maybe $30,000 a month, $40,000 a month. Okay, now I need a win-back flow.
Yeah.
You're launching, it depends on how frequently people are buying your product as well. If people are buying your product every week, you're selling protein bars, you probably need a churn flow really quickly.
Yeah.
Like Create, the gummy for creatine.
Right.
I think it's like a 30 or 90 day supply or something like that. He needs a win back flow pretty quickly.
Right.
To try and, like a deodorant, I was like, you're not going to buy this for 4 months. I don't need to worry about a win back flow for 4 months.
Yeah.
And then, so I think, yes, you're right about all of the things you mentioned. I would just push it a little bit longer. If you're starting Shopify, the theme that's flexible, some Facebook ads, a 3D renderer, and some stuff on Instagram and some stuff on YouTube that offer legitimacy and some reviews.
Yeah, agreed.
And I wouldn't get Elevar, I wouldn't get Nostra, I wouldn't get Amped. I would try and keep it super light. So like all those, like, I think one of the concerns that I have is if you're working with Amped or if you're working with like Elevar, or like, Narvar. If Narvar was free, I'd be like, okay, you're going to spend time being like, how do I make this page look really nice?
That's true. Yeah.
Don't do that.
Attention gets divided.
Yeah, exactly. Your attention needs to be on new customer acquisition.
Yeah. Very fair.
Nick, I love the High Beam credit card. It offers 1.5% cash back, which is pretty good. But more importantly than that, it's got limits up to $1 million and it gives you up to 45-day payment terms. It's so important, especially going to Q4 when everyone's thinking about maximizing inventory. They've got to worry about paying for Facebook ads for the next month when CPMs are going to go up. And they certainly don't want on Black Friday for their Amex credit card to hit its limit so that they can't spend any more money.
Yeah, the absolute worst thing I remember from 3 years ago, was trying to juggle credit cards on Black Friday because you hit your limits on the other cards. And luckily with High Beam, you've got 45-day payment terms, $1 million limits, and you get cash back on every dollar you spend.
So go to highbeam.co/limited supply to learn more.
Okay. Let's move on to, is it operations is the next thing?
Operations,
okay,
yeah.
Let's try.
This is where I have, I would say, the least amount of experience, so I'm counting on you.
Okay, sure.
So first is you got to formulate or design your product with your shipping cost in mind. I think a lot of people forget about shipping cost and packaging size until the very end when it's actually time to like pay for that. And when I say pay for that, I mean pay the shipping cost to ship from one place to somebody's door. And every dollar you basically lose in shipping cost is like, it's a hit to your pocket or a hit to the ability to acquire customers.
For sure. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. I didn't interrupt you.
Next one I have is, get tight with your manufacturer and also the companies behind it. So for example, if you're producing a cream, you don't want to just be tight with your manufacturer, but where is the fragrance coming for that cream? Get tight with those people too, because you might be able to get some better economics that way. And then the last one that I have here is, don't choose a 3PL based on Twitter ads or LinkedIn ads or any Google search SEO. Choose a 3PL based on like what people in your circle or your group chats are saying, not off of who's got nice site design or fancy copywriting or whatever.
Yeah. Who's been advertising a lot that I've been seeing is Ship Hero on TikTok. I see their ads all the time.
Oh, really? Interesting.
I didn't realize that people were doing that. Okay, those are all really good advice. I would say a few things. One is transportation costs, from your 3PL to the customer's door, you really got to understand weights and box dimensions. Like if you can get, one of the things that we had was when we had 3 deodorants in a box, initially the box was like 16.1 ounces.
Yep.
And that made us, we were basically spending 150% of what we needed to spend when it came to shipping costs. We could have been spending dollars less per package if we had just gotten from 16.1 to 15.9. Mm-hmm. And we spent a bunch of time trimming the box size down and making things lighter so that we could get it to 15.9. So I think you really got to understand weights. I remember tweeting a long time ago, there's those gram scales. I was like, if you don't have this on your desk, you're not in e-commerce.
Yeah.
You need this to be an e-commerce founder because you have to weigh your packages.
Yeah.
The other thing that I would say is during COVID, we saw container rates go up a ton and now container rates are back down. Like, there's nothing that you can do to plan for those things other than just be expecting a little bit of a roller coaster. Things can change a lot. Like, now there's peak surcharges during with that, like UPS and FedEx will charge during Q4. You got to be able to you got to be prepared to factor those things in.
Yep.
I think we talked about this on a few episodes ago, which is when you're selecting a 3PL. Yeah, I would go with friends and recommendations. I would also try and go with somebody who's not VC backed or private equity owned.
Yeah.
And then the final thing I'd say is, which I loved that you said, is get tight with your manufacturer. I don't care where your manufacturer is. Get on a plane to visit them. They're in Shanghai. You're in Shanghai. They're in, Dallas, Texas, or, Big Sur. You're in Dallas, Texas, or you're in Big Sur. Same thing with your 3PL. You're going to understand so much more of their business when you go and see how your product is made. You're going to be like, is there inefficiencies? How should I change my business maybe as a result of this? Put boots on the ground and go over to wherever your product is being manufactured. If it's a deodorant, go to your deodorant manufacturer. If it's a washer and dryer, go over to your washer and dryer manufacturer. And same thing with your 3PL, because you're going to be like, this is why, maybe we shouldn't keep these two scents that are virtually the same color right next to each other.
Right.
Or maybe we should keep travel sizes closer so you can pack stuff faster.
Mm-hmm.
Like, go over there and put boots in the ground. Like, go and visit them, because you're going to understand their operation and form a much deeper relationship one-on-one. If you're really early on, I'd say go over there every 6 months. Maybe every quarter, maybe every year, depending on how late you are in the relationship and how many things change. If things are changing, you should go once a quarter. If things are steady the whole time, go once a year. Like, I met Amy at Fulfillment Works. I went out to that facility. I went out to the other manufacturer 5 times. I'd go up there all the time. I'd go see our deodorant manufacturer probably once a quarter, once every 6 months. Like, I had the same hotel that I'd go to, and the people at the hotel knew me because I was there that often.
Wow.
Like, it's important to understand how they're making stuff and build that personal relationship, because when there's a problem, that personal relationship is what's going to count.
Sure.
And you want to be able to text them and be like, hey, I've got a problem. Not, I called some guy and he's like, okay, well, we'll get to it. Maybe
we'll
you need a personal relationship.
Yeah. What, what monthly order volume do you think somebody should start those trips at? Is it at 500 orders a month, 1,000 orders a month, 5,000 orders a month?
Definitely way earlier than 5,000 orders a month. I think it's once you realize you're not going to quit the business.
Okay.
Like, if you're like, look, I'm testing this product and I've ordered 500 of them and I'm not sure if I'm going to keep doing this. And then you're selling them and you're selling 5 a day and you're like, I might quit. You don't need to do it. But if you're like, okay, I ordered 500 and I sold 500 this week and I'm going to order another 500 next week, or even another 200 next week, and I'm in it, you got to go out there.
Yeah.
Like, there's I don't know why I just thought of this brand. There's a brand called Fulton that makes like insoles.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how they make those insoles. I think they're I don't know how they make them, but I know they're made out of cork. I would go out there. Like, they're in it. They've been in it for if you've been working on the same business for a year, you got to go out there and see.
That's true. Another question I had is, at what point do you go to the same 2 people, your warehouse, your manufacturers, and you say, I want better payment terms?
Good question. I think you can ask better payment terms or a price discount. And I think, I always ask for a price discount. I think the answer is, once you have an order, a change of like, not maybe necessarily a change of magnitude, but like a step change when it comes to your sales. Mm-hmm. So if you negotiated prices when you were selling 10,000 units a month and you're at 13,000 units a month, I don't think you can do it. Like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
But if you're at 20,000 units a month, you might be able to. If you're at 30,000, you definitely can. If you're at 50,000, you've waited too long, or you should ask for a big discount. So I think, because I think the way I think about it is, they're going to get price savings as a result of ordering in bulk.
Yeah.
And that's great. And, that's what they should do. And you should get to share. You shouldn't get all of the price savings. Their costs went from $2 to $1.70, and they were charging you $3. I don't think you should go down to $2.70. Maybe they get to keep, a third of those price savings and you get to keep 2/3, or you split it 50-50. But you won't necessarily know what their price savings are, but you can assume that once you have an order, you've doubled sales.
Right.
And you're already at scale, almost certainly you can go to them because they've had a change in savings when it comes to their efficiencies. They're ordering ingredients in bulk.
Right.
They're running lines longer. They're ordering larger, like they got their own master cartons so that they don't have to
it's a
ship
win
so
on
much
both
bulk.
sides.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like you're really digging into their
That's right.
margin.
You're scaling your business. You can probably we probably did it six times.
Yeah.
Over the course of 3 years. But we scaled the business from 500 units a week to 21,000 a day.
Right.
And so there were plenty of times where everyone could share in that in those savings.
Totally. Awesome. The next bucket I have here is customer experience.
Yes. Do you consider unboxing here, or do you consider it marketing? Just out of curiosity. I know it's a technical question.
Probably more on probably here.
Okay.
Customer experience. What about you?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think of customer service as within ops, so I think about it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
I think of it probably in the marketing side.
I generally think like
it's cost.
Yeah. I feel like everything post-purchase
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
is customer experience.
Okay, got it, yeah.
So that's a great call. The unboxing experience and like what they feel when they first open. I think that is really important. Even when you're a small business, you want that special feeling because that's what's going to get you Instagram, stories about your product, going to get people to love your brand and like speak to its authenticity. Yeah. This is actually something I'm currently working on getting for Long Weekend. I got to hit up Nik actually.
Is a custom
box.
Yeah, great. Yeah, you should. He's great. And even if you are like, look, I can't afford this. I'm not at scale. I can't get a custom box. All of those things, that's perfectly fine. Have someone write a handwritten note.
Yeah.
Like, with a bit pen.
Right.
Costs you nothing but time.
There's even like handwrite.io. You can just get, 10,000 made for a few cents.
That's right. Yeah. Just do there's a lot you can do to create an unboxing experience that's valuable. When we started again, like I hand wrote notes to everybody and I wanted them to feel special. Because I was like, so I was like, look, we don't have any money. We're a new business. You saw us on Product Hunt. Really appreciate you buying. Tell us what you think. Here's a handwritten note.
Yeah.
And that unboxing experience is going to be better than just a standard Uline box with nothing. Like you can do a lot, even if you're not spending any money.
Fully agreed. Customer service, I think, is an easy one. You can develop macros, so you can just quickly respond with basically, few seconds.
For sure.
You should develop a really good FAQ based on what the questions are that come in, and that should live on your PDP.
Do you use Gorgeous for your customer service for Long Weekend, or do you use somebody else?
Gorgeous. Okay. We don't use Gorgeous for FAQ, though. We built that ourselves.
Oh, yeah, they have an FAQ feature?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
And, I think if you're the person behind the business, you should spend time responding to these questions.
Definitely.
Because outsourcing it will, it'll eliminate the tickets, but you don't really understand what are the fundamental issues or the patterns that come in with these messages. And sometimes it's a very simple, like, oh, I get a rash with this. Okay, well, maybe we should change the formula. Oh, I'm trying this coupon code and it's not working. Can you just apply it for me? An agent would just do it, but you might realize, oh shit, maybe we have something running where, this is not turned on.
And, then you're going to be like, oh, maybe our coupon code is native, but we put it in and it looks like there may be a period at the end of it. So maybe we should add native and native period.
Exactly.
Native exclamation point. And then you're like, oh, fuck, that's what it is. There's so many things that as a new CEO, you need to understand to fix your business. And also people won't necessarily elevate things to you.
Yeah.
Because they don't realize that it's a big deal. And you'll be like, oh yeah, we had this problem at our manufacturing facility. I remember John called me. And so now you're like, I also see this issue that a customer is having. Maybe some of these packages got to customers.
Yeah. Last thing is post-purchase survey. This is something that people don't do enough of, but it's not tacky or it's not corny to ask customers. There's generally a 35 to 45% of people are down to do it.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, of that, 60 to 70% of people complete the survey. And one trick that I always do is in the towards the beginning, ideally second or third question, ask them their birthday and their shirt size. They feel like they might get something on their birthday. And so that'll incentivize them to finish the survey.
That is so funny. Okay, gotcha. You're selling a mattress and you're like, what's your shirt size? And you're like, wow, what's this guy going to send me? And you're like, nothing.
Yeah.
That is really smart. What is a software that you use to power that poster? This is where I would be like, yes, you should get the software almost right when you launch.
Yeah.
What is that software?
Okendo.
Surveys. Gotcha.
You can use No Commerce as well.
Gotcha.
And that's also, they're both very easy to use.
Gotcha.
So, now people are like, all right, I've launched. Now what the fuck do I do? I don't have any revenue. And I think, actually before that, is there anything you would add to customer experience?
Not Not really. I'd probably say don't hire a customer service agent until you're getting at least 30, 40 tickets a day.
Yeah.
You should be doing all of them yourself until then. You could probably use Gmail when you're only getting 3 or 4 a day. And once you get to more than that, yeah, probably I'd use somebody else. Yeah, nothing else. I would follow up with everybody. And even I guess part of my flow in going back to marketing and talking about win back was emailing people being like, hey, you didn't purchase again. Tell me why you didn't purchase again. And write in this email, like in Gmail, pretend like you're in a Gmail, I wrote to you and it looks like I'm from Gmail and I'm like, hey, buy this product. Like, why didn't you buy this product again? And that way you respond to me in a way that's also really personal. And that's awesome. Like I want to make it so it's not like you fill out a survey, why didn't you buy again? I want you to think that some guy's sitting at home, this is his life's business, this is his life's mission, and you want to respond to him and be like, this isn't why I didn't purchase again.
Right.
So you create like some sort of brand affinity on that person's part. And as a founder, you understand why that person didn't purchase again. So like the other thing I would add to customer experience is in your post-purchase email flow or win-back flow, create an email and say, hey, you haven't purchased again. I'm the founder. My name's Moiz. We want you to purchase again. What can I do? What happened? Tell me what it is, so that there's a really personal experience.
Yeah. On that note too, one thing you've mentioned before and I started doing is like just email everybody who buys and ask them why they bought.
Definitely,
like,
yeah.
Hey, you bought. I'd love to pick your brain on like why you bought.
Yeah.
Or what made you choose us for this product.
Yeah, we have this great what is it called when everyone, like you get a bunch of customers that come in and talk to them all?
Like a focus group?
Yeah, focus group. That's what it's called. Everyone at P&G would know exactly what it is. Of course,
yeah, that's probably their bread and butter.
So anyway, we had a focus group of a bunch of customers that bought native, and they're like, we pretended like we weren't native employees.
Huh.
And, I was like, why did you buy this? And people were like, it's the probiotics. The probiotics are so good in this. And I was like, multiple people said that. And I was like, so these people are like convinced that it's probiotics that's working and not all these other ingredients that's working. And so when I thought about marketing, I was always like, okay, I got to think about probiotics because these people really cared about that.
That's awesome.
And you learn that because you just talk to people.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we move on to, is finance next?
Yeah, I didn't have much for finance, actually. I was going to ask you how to best do that.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about on the last week about optimizing credit cards. Like, you talked about a few cards that are really good for delaying payments. And, I think you can ask for terms from everybody that you're working with. Some people will be able to provide it to you. Some people won't. Your contract manufacturer, your 3PL. I've seen people get 3 months from their contract manufacturer. I've seen people get a year, not a year, but like I shouldn't say a year. They've gotten 3 or 4 months from their 3PL, which is really hard to get because that person's basically fronting postage most of the time for you. So I think that you can ask for a lot of terms from everybody. Some people will be able to give them to you. Some people won't. From a credit card processing perspective, I like Stripe. I'm an investor in Stripe as well, full disclosure. But Stripe is sort of the one that everybody uses. It's what Shopify
default
uses
in Shopify,
anyway.
yeah.
And then from a credit card perspective, I would probably get the Amex Gold just to try and maximize that, or a cashback card if I didn't want Amex points and wanted cash back. For banking, I know we've talked about a bunch of different banks from like Chase to First Republic to Mercury to the other ones, High Beam they use.
Yeah.
I think from banking perspective, you can probably use anybody. There's a few banks that are probably more tech savvy that you want. So you get free wires and all that kind of stuff. Logging into First Republic Bank looks like somebody lost the keys to that, banking website in 1997.
Yeah.
Like no one's updated in 30 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else I can answer about finance, I guess?
I guess, yeah. So, all right, let's say somebody's starting a business today. How much would you say they should put into an account as their business account to get the business going?
Good question. If I were starting a business, the way I would do it is I'd create a fake product that was 3D rendered, a fake brand, and start selling through ads to see if people would purchase it. Like, is there product market? Is there product marketing fit? And so I'd say, what is the cost? Like if I was brand new to starting a business and it was a deodorant business, as an example, I'd say it's going to cost me $10,000 for the Shopify site, the theme, 3D rendering, maybe some apps, running some Facebook ads to see if I can get this thing to work. And I think of that 10,000, probably 5,000 is the, Facebook ads to work. So that's probably, if I was like a little bit more serious, I might be like, okay, I want to order inventory. I want to probably tighten up my brand a little bit. So I need to hire a graphic designer, not just some schmo who's doing it on Photoshop, which is me. That's why I say some schmo. So then I might be like, okay, I'm looking at $25,000 to a $50,000 investment. But I think if you're like, hey, I'm spending more than a year launching this brand, it better be a complicated product, or like, you better be very confident of product market fit, such that you're not like sort of testing it first.
Yeah, fully agreed. I think the more you can test up front, the better.
Definitely. Okay, should we talk about wholesale?
Yeah. I don't know much here in wholesale.
Yeah, I'd say if you're launching a direct-to-consumer brand, it's really hard to focus on wholesale and direct-to-consumer right out of the gate. In fact, everyone I advise, I'm like, look, I know direct-to-consumer really well. I focused on that. And, if you can get into Sephora or Target or, RDI really early on, that's great and possibly worth betting the business on.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen a lot of brands who are like, look, we got into Target really early on and we're going to make a bet on this business. And,
By bet, you mean like funding that purchase order?
Not just funding that purchase order, but that's now the focus of my business.
Got it.
Like,
Okay.
I'm not going to wake up every day and be like, how do I optimize Facebook ads? I'm going to wake up every day thinking, how do I drive more customers into Ulta?
Got it.
Like, one of the companies that we're an investor in, and I don't mind saying the name, we can beep it out later on, is Cadence, right? Like Cadence is in a bunch of stores now. And I think their next big bet is how do we make these stores super productive? Because D2C is doing well, but like we think we can do even better here.
Right.
And so, I think like today, the native CEO, I can't imagine gives it like a lot, cares a lot about direct to consumer when Target is 50x bigger probably or something like that, right? Like you gotta care where you gotta put your chips where like, you're getting your revenue. And if that's brick and mortar, that's what you should focus on. Yeah. That said, if I was like just starting out and I wasn't able to get into those brick and mortar stores early on, and you probably won't be able to because unless you're like an Instagram, if you're Kylie Jenner and you're starting a new brand, you will be able to.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this podcast, probably not. Yeah. If you're Mr. Beast. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably not. What I would do is when people say, hey, do you offer wholesale? Like we did this at Native, small boutiques with like pharmacies would say this all the time. I'd say, here's a coupon code for 40% off. You have to spend a minimum of $250. Your margin is 40%. Don't sell it on Amazon. If you sell it on Amazon, we'll come to your house and burn it down. Yeah. Otherwise, sell it in your pharmacy, 40% off. Sell it in your, buy it from us. At 40% off our retail price, sell it, and you'll make a 40% margin in your pharmacy, your travel store, wherever you are. You can make 40%, free shipping. You don't have to worry about anything. Right. And $200 isn't a big order, so like you can afford to buy it. Right. And so we would do that, and like believe it or not, we had probably more than $10,000 a month in wholesale orders pretty quickly. Wow. So I think it is meaningful, and all it was a snippet and a coupon code. Yeah. And then we did catch one guy selling it on Amazon and we got him shut off. And then he's like, it was this like Indian guy too. I still remember it. And he's like, oh guys, I like after we got him shut off Amazon, he's like, oh guys, people don't like this brand actually at my store. Can I return it? And we're like, absolutely not. Yeah. That's the other thing we said. We were like, we'll sell it to you 40% off, no returns. Like we don't want hassle. Because our focus is like, can we sell this to consumers? Right. I want to develop this part of my business. Problems. But yeah, exactly. But I don't want any problems. Here's a coupon code. Here's the percentage you get. Don't leave me alone. Yeah. And that's what I thought about wholesale.
Awesome. All right. Last piece, because we're almost out of time here, but you've now launched, and I think the goal should be get to 5K a day, whether that's through creating content, running ads. It's probably running ads. It'll teach you to understand the TRACE framework, which is technology, reporting, audience, creative experience. And really you'll understand like how to position your product well. So, Jolie, for example, they don't sell a shower head. They sell the fact that you have no more dandruff or you have better skin. You're not itching at night. Yeah, definitely. And so you got to basically find your angles. Yeah. And understand that.
I love that. How you're like creating a method where you're like, I got to find a unique selling proposition and talk about this. Yeah. And this is what I'm focusing on. It's great messaging. Okay, that was fantastic. I really liked it. Okay, so after let me ask one random question. After Shopify, Klaviyo, Help Scout, what is the third piece? Like, what's the next software that I need where I'm like, you shouldn't be able to live without this?
Probably customer service.
Okay. Well, no, after Gorgeous. So let's
after Gorgeous.
Klaviyo, Gorgeous, Shopify. I got those three things.
Yeah. Probably reviews. Okendo.
Right answer.
Reviews, surveys, quizzes now. Yeah, probably that. Like that should also be something, because reviews too,
Massive.
massive. And if they're improperly managed, like actually majority of companies don't know how to properly use reviews. You know, if you search their product on Google, you don't see their product card with the reviews there. You just see it on their PDP. It doesn't have traits next to it. Like, you know, for example, Glossier, that'll ask you, what type of skin do you have? What's your age range? Where do you live? Because that all gives context to how skincare reacts.
Definitely.
And so yeah, I would say reviews.
I love that part. I wish we'd done, I think even like a Native, we got so many, but I think we could have done a better job, which was, we should have started asking people, what was the deodorant you switched from?
Yeah.
So that other people could be like, I use Old Spice.
Exactly.
What's it like to use, like, let me think about all the people who use Old Spice and switch to Native.
Yeah.
I wish we'd done a better job of that. We didn't have like, I thought of it. We just didn't have the like product infrastructure to be able to do that. WooCommerce. But I wish we had. But this was great. I really appreciate this. I agree with those pillars of like how you think about it. And I love the way you think about it.
Sweet. Well, I think we've got one more episode left that we're recording live in Austin.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
That'll be the end of the season.
Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next time to cut through the noise in CPG, retail, and e-commerce.
And if you enjoyed this episode, then why not share it with a friend? And be sure to subscribe on whatever platform you listen to your podcasts on.